Hello and welcome to Viper Strategies, where we put roulette strategies to the ultimate test. This is not a simulator app. We are using a custom built software to back test strategies against real casino spin data. That means real outcomes, real risk analysis, and real world results. This is more than just content. It's a passion project. After years of getting beat up from the casinos, we decided it was time to fight and strike back. So on this channel, we fine tune strategies, run deep performance analysis, and stress test across multiple sessions against thousands of spins to see if they really have true profit potential. Because around here, we always test before we invest. Hey guys, so the day is finally here. I'm very excited to share with you guys what me and my friend have been diligently working on. It's a new software. He is the mad scientist behind this project. I've just kind of been just think about it as a Batman and Robin kind of relationship. But he is a true genius. He has over 35 years of software development experience. So I do want to thank everyone that's already subscribed to the channel. Very, very excited to show you what we've been working on. We've been putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this project, and it's came a long way, and it's still, quote unquote, still in beta testing right now, but it's good enough to run some back testing videos on. So that's why I'm excited to show you this today. So before we jump into today's videos, I'm gonna get to the software. I'm gonna have timestamps below, but first I do want to go over some ideas with you guys. Okay, so some of those ideas are going to be on some of the testing options that I kind of brainstormed, and I do want your guys' feedback on this. I think because some have already asked, like, why start another channel? That first channel, the original survival test, that's really to weed out any good from bad, right? So we get those good ones, and if it's worth the time, we're going to go ahead and modify those, make them better, fine tune them. So that's kind of the weed out process on that first channel. Don't want to spend any energy on anything that is not any good, right? So we just push those to the side. Any that are getting a lot of attention, like, so for instance, like the recent one is going to be Roulette Jackpot. That's been a very popular strategy as of late and has been ran on multiple channels. So I'm actually going to be doing testing on that today. Another great one was Kentucky White's Moving Corners. I did a mini series on that, and we did the same thing. We collaborated between everyone, and we came up with some great modifications that I still use today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. And on, you can see on the screen right here, I got Viper Strategies testing options. So the first one's going to be that Roulette Strategy Bracket Challenge. I know the Roulette Masters channel, he's done a bracket challenge in the past. I've seen other channels doing it. It's very intriguing, right? To kind of put them head to head. Well, what's great about the software is they're using simulation apps. And sometimes they are using them. I've seen one recently where using a live wheel, which I thought was great. The thing is that's not an apples to apples comparison, right? I could literally run, and these are all collected from the casinos. These are real data sets that I'm running. These are not simulated numbers, nor are they artificially intelligence created numbers, right? These are actually collective. We've been collecting these over the past few months, and we have tens of thousands of spins collected. So they're actual casino numbers. So with that being said, I could, like, let's say I run 100 spin test against one system. Let's say I run it against Kentucky White's Moving Corners. Well, then I could compare it to another one, like for instance, this one, Roulette Jackpot, and I could run that same exact sequence in order, the same exact 100 spins, which is awesome, right? Because then you have a true comparison, because then you take out, the in between of, just random numbers, lucky numbers, unlucky numbers coming. You're giving it a true apples to apples test. So let's go ahead and look over here. So that bracket challenge is something I'm thinking about. We could, put up, match different ones and kind of break it down. We could do a double elimination, single elimination, and then we could do multiple rounds. So let me know if you guys like that. The other one is going to be that 100 spin trial series. So the concept here is each episode tests one strategy over 100 real spins, includes post analysis, like a grade, basically what I've been doing on the other channel. And then obviously I could give you a bunch of the stats afterwards and show you the performance. This one I thought was super cool too. This one I call it the strategy stress test. And the concept behind this is, okay, let's say we have a solid one, right? So like that roulette jackpot, it's played out very, very well, and it seems very conservative, and it hasn't busted, except for this recent one I just posted. But that variation wasn't good. But the previous modifications didn't bust, and it has a very slow progression. So I thought maybe something like that. That's we could stress test it, meaning I could run as many spins as it could handle until it breaks. And that might be, for some systems, that might be 200 spins. I'm not saying that anybody's truly going to play this way. The idea behind it is really, it's going to give you confidence, right? Running them against real data is going to give you confidence, like, oh man, this is lasting, 1,000 spins, 2,000 spins, and that kind of just, you know, gets us to that breaking point of everyone. And then here we do have one that I thought many of you guys might be interested in. This one's the random strategy test. Um, so the concept here is, just once we run some good testing on the other channel, the idea is then I'll come up with a voting system, and I could come up with 3 or 5, however many we collect, of the good ones that everyone likes, right? And then I'll make a post, and then we could just simply do a vote, and you could like it, and then whatever one gets the most votes, we could literally implement it into the software, and then from there we pull it over to this channel, we fine tune, we configure it, and try to make it the best that it possibly can be. Okay. Another idea I have right here is strategy Smackdown. Uh, this is 100 spins, one winner. Like I said, apples to apples testing in a true comparison test, right? So this right here, the idea is leveling the playing field, right? A true comparison using the same data points like I talked about earlier. I also have this one that I thought was pretty cool. So like, let's say we find a really good one. It seems solid. I could run it not against, I wouldn't run it against the same data sets on this trial, but the idea behind this is really just to, let's say, uh, run it in 10 sessions against 10 different data sets at, let's say, just for even numbers, at 100 spins each. Well, then let's say it performs and it hits 7 out of 10 times. Now you have a 70% hit rate, not hit rate, but 70% session win rate, right? Because there is no true perfect strategy. Every strategy will fail. Remember that. There's no guarantees, especially in this game, roulette. It's a crazy game, but there are more resilient strategies out there, guys. And that's why I brought this up on the channel, my other channel before. And it really is something, because I have been playing the roulette jackpot, and I probably played it 4 or 5 times at this point. I haven't lost with it. There's been a couple times that it did kind of get deeper in the progression, but nothing that overstressed me. So like lately, that has been in my go-to bag. And I got so many systems, but I really try to condense it and keep it between like 3 and 5 systems so I don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this. Also, yeah, if you guys have any other test ideas or test input, I'm all ears. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. All these videos are not going to be about me talking. This first video, I did want to go over these different testing ideas that I have, and I do want to get your feedback to see which ones you guys like the best, which ones you prefer me run, and then even if you guys have your own testing ideas that maybe I should implement on this channel, just let me know. Just let me know down in the comments, and we could go from there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the software, and let me show you the layout on that. And let me go ahead and pull that up just a second here. All right, so we are going to run some tests now. Okay, so now you see the software here. I'm going to just do a little bit of explanation. So back test right here. We're going to open this screen. I'm going to slide it over here. We are going to expand a little bit. Okay. and we are going to select a file. These are the data sets that I've been collecting. Let's just go data set 20. Let's open that. And this frequency seconds right here, this right here is going to be how frequent the data gets spit out. Okay, so initially I want to show you, because doing it every second, it's hard to keep up with. So let's just set that at, we'll set that at 4 right now, every 4 seconds, to give us time to see what's going on. Right here, this process, this is basically just counting the spins. I know a lot of you guys brought up in the past, I do lose track of the spin count on the other channel. I'm trying to multitask. I'm trying to keep track of a lot of different things. So this is a super helpful tool because we can't hit an exact number, right? I could stop it exactly at 100 spins. That's what I'm going to do today. So that setup here, we're going to go here into we're going to start a new betting session, right? New back testing session. We're gonna click that. We're gonna click this. We are going to go here. Okay, so starting balance right here. This is going to be your bankroll, right? So for generic numbers, let's just go ahead and let's put $1,000 of bankroll. Enter base unit. This is going to be the base unit you prefer to play the system with. You go 50 cents, dollar, whatever you want to put in here. Let's keep that also generic, what I typically run on the other channel, and keep it at $1. This right here, this is your stop loss. This is a protection feature. We're going to let these systems run, so we're not going to put that in. You can put a profit goal in too. This is kind of, if you want to, that's another testing idea, is like some of you guys do like to go lower in the profit goals, like making 50 bucks, 100 bucks. You guys are satisfied with that. You don't get overly greedy. Some people want to double their money. So we're going to just keep this out of it just for testing purposes. So we're going to skip that for now. Now we are going to go into right here is strategy manager. So we're going to click right here, and you can see right now we have a total of 99 strategies. Some of them still need work. Like I said, this is still in beta testing, but a lot of them are working really well right now. But today we're just going to stick with one. We are not going striker, and we have them all categorized. So you can see, like, we got AI strategies here. There is some AI running in the background of these strategies, and it's kind of like a learning program, right? So it's like they're trying to better predict based on previous results on spin data, and when they shift, maybe it's the board starts chopping, it starts streaking, and so that's been a little side project. Very fun testing that out. We got colors, columns. These are all separated, right, into different categories. What the roulette jackpots under is actually, we have it named in here as high low double street, because you guys remember the original was putting high low and then adding the double streets. So we just implemented a plus. So we are going to activate this, and this button right here, is C for configurations. Okay, so we activated the strategy we want to use. I do want to go over this. This is like a tutorial. This is an explanation video. Sorry for getting long-winded. The next videos, I'll get right into it. But I do want to kind of give you a layout and explain what's going on and what all this stuff means. Excuse me. All right, so betting strategy. Which betting strategy to use, double street or corner? So you guys familiar with the previous videos? If you haven't seen the previous videos and you're just watching this, I will have links down below on all those modifications that we ran through. All right, so the first option is going to be double street, adding those double streets as you climb in the progression, and also adding those overlapping corners. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I am going to do the same data set against double street and then the variation of overlapping corners to see which one works out better. And at the end of the video, I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to post the stats and which one performs better on the same data set. So let's just go ahead and start with double streets first. And here we got the progression type, mathematical progression used for the betting sizing. Okay, so we have some options here. We got some basic Patabon. We have the Fibonacci sequence in here. We got cars. We could put martingale. We could put a bunch of stuff. These are just some presets, just an easy click. These are some of our favorite ones to use. So that's why we have presets in here. But this one's really cool, right? So this one's custom. Okay, so let me just scroll down to custom real quick and I'll explain to you what that means. So I'll go over the rest. I'm not just skipping that. I'm just going down to custom. Okay, so custom progression, I could literally put anything in here. I could put, look, I could go back all this up. I just got to separate it with comma. I could go 16. I could, go, let's say 18, 19, 22, jump to 105, jump to 200, go back to 7. And when I put this in, that will implement into the software and the progression will, these are all base units, right? So the progression will increase alongside that. Okay, so I thought that was a really, really cool feature because you could put any progression in there and customize it however you want. You could do D. Allenbert style where you go up to down one. There's a lot of flexibility there. So let's scroll back up and let me just go over some of the other stuff. All right, so we're on double street. We're gonna keep the previous video to the last one I just posted. We ran Padavon. It ran pretty good. So I'm gonna just keep that as a default. I'm not gonna change a lot here, but I do want to go over them. Starting side, this could be random, right? Just picking a random side, or if you prefer to play highs, click high. Prefer to play low, it'll stay on low. So we're just gonna keep that at random. And then virtual loss. This right here, this is going to be, think about this as a safety measure, right? So the number of consecutive misses needed before selected betting sides. Okay, so what that basically means is it's going to wait out a certain amount of times until it jumps into the progression. With this type of system, I don't necessarily think you don't really need to put anything there. This one would be more of a protection mode. This one's called wait mode. And wait mode is after consecutive losses, what it's going to do, it's going to sit out some spins. So I'll give you an example. So if we have that enabled, you go down to this next line right here, wait after losses. You could put a range of 1 to 20. So let's just hypothetically say we could set that at 4 straight losses. Okay, so 4 straight losses, you're getting a little high on the progression. Maybe you don't want the progression to get any higher. So what it's going to do, it's going to stop. It's going to stop the bet. You're not going to place that bet. And what it's going to do is going to wait until that board kind of regulates and gets back onto the winning side. And you could have that number at 4, you could have it at 5, you could have it all the way up to 20. I don't want to use this feature. I do want to go ahead and just let it run out and see what happens. But this is the stuff I'm talking about in the configurations, is that we can configure these to really fine tune these to see what's the best configs to run with a specific strategy. So next line, minimum betting unit. This is basically just your unit size. You could actually hop over here. I'll highlight it. You see that right here. I could change this to any basic unit size. So we're gonna skip that for now. Reset at session high. You could enable this or you can disable this. If you want to reset at session high, some systems you're gonna want to reset at session high. Other ones you might be comfortable because the progression might be a little aggressive to do the next line. And right here we have the option to reset near session high, and you have a range of 0, right? So if this is enabled, that's how we're going to roll today, is reset at session high. But if you wanted to, you disable this, and what you're going to do is you put whatever value you want in here. This could be any value. This could be, you want to reset at, let's say, within 20. So if you're up to 160 bucks in profit, right? And then you start going progression and it's going down. Once you get within 140 bucks or more, between 140 and 160, it's going to automatically reset the bet. So I thought that was a great feature. You could be even more conservative about it. Maybe you want to reset within 40 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever you want, depending on how you play. So that's another option. Zero hedge is obviously in here as well. This is really put in. I know a lot of people like zero hedge. I'm personally not a big fan, to be honest. The only time I think it makes sense to zero hedge bet is once you get higher in the progression. So we have the option to enable betting on zero as a hedge, right? Then you come here and then okay, right here it says zero hedge starts at what level. You can choose what level of the progression you want it to start at. And like I just said, me personally, For instance, like this system I'm running, if I were to, I really don't like zero hedge because I feel like it's just another number, just another uncovered number. But if you do prefer to use zero hedge, you can start this at any level. You could put this at let's say 10. Maybe 10's kind of like that threshold. You're like, oh, it's getting a little high. I already seen like two zeros coming out in the last 5 spins. Maybe that might make sense, to put it in there. But I usually don't put zero hedge. All right, so this is the zero hedge option, and there is zero hedge percentage. So right here you can see this is going to be the percentage of what, and we could change this. Instead of being a percentage, we could put that a dollar amount. That might be better or easier. um, that way you could utilize that later. Right here, swap on wins. We could do this: swap on wins, swap on losses. Like I said, I'm going to keep this pretty default, and I'm just going to keep it there. Let's see what happens. And Fibonacci prog, this just is just showing you what it is. And we only have these set up to 89. You could obviously add, the next sequence. What is it? 144. Or one. I don't know, but you could add the rest of it. And then you got Padavon, Cars, that kind of just gives you a layout. Hotkey assignment, that's just the save strategies. So let me just make sure they're set up right. They are. So we are going to start the test now. So I'm going to save those parameters. Those parameters are the configurations. And right here we have this activated. I do want to show you this before I jump into it. This one is a override. So if I wanted to, I could pause the progression and I could go ahead and punch in $5 as my base unit. Or I could do 50 cents. I could go back and I could put 50 cents, 10 cents, whatever you want to use. We're just going to keep it at dollar units. And then let's go ahead and start it. And then I will explain as we go. So we got that loaded up. And let's go ahead and start and let's show you what's going on. All right, let me pause it real quick just to explain this. So strategy manager, that's where we go ahead and pick our strategy. Here we got bet recommendation. This is where the bet is going, and this is the total bet right here. And let's see. Oh, okay. And down below, this is going to be your bet visualization. So this is where the bets are getting placed. That way you can visually see what's going on. And these are the data set numbers that it's going against. Right here, you can see, let me highlight. You can see this is our starting bankroll. It's going to keep track of the profit right here. It's going to show the spins. If we use the target goal right here, would show you once you hit your target goal. This is obviously our unit size right here. So let's roll and see what goes. And down here, right, so I have preloaded some spin data. I do have the option to literally punch in. So if you look down here at the bottom of the screen, I have the option to punch in manually my numbers against any specific strategy. Why would you want to do this? You could do it for various reasons, but it could be something where it's like you want to really stress test and a strategy that's not losing, and you want to see it or test to see if the strategy is working properly and climbing the progression properly. But we could get to all that stuff later. Let me just jump into it. We're going to start. And like I said, we are going to run 100. So that was spin number 1. We lost. Spin number 2. You can see it's flopped to the other side right here. Bet still stays at 1. All right. There's a loss right there. So bet increased to 2. It won. So it reset back to base. You could see up here, we got a high of $2. We got another win right there. So switching sides and winning. So what I say on the previous channel, we are in print mode at this point. And right now it's going slow because up here, if you can see, I have the frequency set at giving me information, giving me data back or results back. Sorry. So let me go ahead and I'm going to just speed this up a little bit. Let's go speed this up to 2. All right, so we're at a $4 bet. Let me pause it in. So that was a loss. This is our high up here. So $4. This is that adjustment I talked about. So this is the variation we added is the first 3 levels. It goes 1 unit, You lose, it goes 2 units. You lose again, it goes 4 units. That's a soft martingale progression because most of the time I would say that you win at that base level bet. Okay, so instead of making that third level a $3 bet, some Schnauzer Bites actually gave some great input and said, "Hey, dude, why not switch it to $4 on the third bet? That way, not only do you recoup all previous losses, you still gain a unit, and you're only sacrificing one extra unit, right?" So, thought that was great. So let's continue with this. We lost again. You can see right here it's keeping track, and up here, this is where it's keeping a full log of the spins. And now we have added in that second double streak. So let's unpause. Okay, we got the win. We're not in session profit, so we switch sides of the board. Now we're going up in profit, and now we're on a losing streak. All right, so let me pause it right there. Let's see where we are at. So now we are a $5 bet. These are going up a unit. And now we're on $12 bet on the low numbers. All right, we got a hit right there. Switch sides of the board. Now we're on a losing streak right now. We're at spin 24. Now we are, okay, we got to grab a few wins to see if it gets back in session profit. Right now we're currently only up. Our session high was, okay, now we're in new session high. You see that? So that the progression was going super high. And once it hit a new session profit, look what happened. It reset back to base to keep it safe. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up so the video is not super long. I'm going to, up here, I'm just doing 1 second frequencies to get results, just to roll through. And you can see the process spins up here in the corner are getting tracked. Okay. And then once we stop this session, what's going to happen is it's going to spit out some statistics for us. I'm going to go ahead and jot that down because, like I said, this is an apples to apples comparison to the corners, the overlapping corners, to see which one performs the best specifically to the same data set. Okay, we're playing this data set. I just have it saved as data set number 20. All right. So right now we are in new session profit. We're at base level. This is that print mode that I like to talk about. I really do like this strategy, and I feel that there could I want to call it flat betting, but I think going up and down just within those first three level bets might be a potential strategy of its own. All right, so super long streak again. These are why we run these tests to see if they can come back. All right, we're almost near profit. Boom, new session profit. Let's pause it right there. All right, so you saw the betting progression got pretty high, but every time it hits a new session high, it automatically resets. And you can see how quick it's spitting out data. We are already at spin 69, spin 70, 71. So I can run I could batch test a lot of these variations in different configurations a lot quicker than I can manually using that simulator app. But on top of that, this is real casino data, right? This is not just random numbers, guys. And I know some of you have some, an axe to grind with that simulator because it does. Like I notice when it gets high in a progression, it feels like it goes into like a losing mode, right? And then it's just like everything's losing, and I don't know. So I think that's the reason we started this. We really wanted to put it against like the most realistic um, data that we can get. And so right now we are at a high of 1,064, and we are processed 95, 96. We're almost there. I'm actually going to stop it here at 101. Okay, stopping at 101. The reason why I'm stopping at 101 is because it's a little off. So I'm going to show you down here real quick. We are running high-low with the double streaks, right? So here's the wins. Our wins are 44. Our losses are 56. So that in balance, we have more losses than we do wins. But look up here. So we got that. Let me go here. Let's stop this session. So let's go ahead and log this. I'm gonna go ahead and slide over here just for a second. And what I'm gonna do is keep track of this information because this is the double streak. So profit, I'm gonna keep the win loss. So the win loss is, what is it? Okay, we got 44 wins. We got 56 losses, right? That's 100 spins. 44 wins, 56 losses. I'm gonna stop the session right here, and it's gonna end the session, and it's going to spit out some information for us, right? So now we have starting balance. That was our $1,000 to start with. End balance, we stopped at the 101 mark. So that's where we actually ended the session. But if you look at the profit loss, where we gained 47, right? But the session high, we peaked at 64. Here's something to take note of as well. Our session low was at 908. So we only risked, what's that, 92 bucks, right? So it didn't dip super low into that $1,000 bankroll. And I have played it a couple times where, you know, it hasn't really risked a lot to make money. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and just track this real quick. I'm gonna just track the high, see where it peaked out. So the high was 64 in profit. I'm gonna go ahead and log that. And then the end balance was 1047. That don't matter too much because in all reality, nobody really stopped at a certain spin count, right? All right, so that was 800 spins, and the data set was 20. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So I got that logged. So I'm gonna stop this, and what that's gonna do is gonna reset. Okay, and I'm gonna have to start another session. So let's go through the same progression that we did earlier. Bet on, okay, select starting balance. We're gonna keep the same at 1,000, and base unit bet is gonna be $1. Everything's gonna be the same as last. And let's go right here. Okay, this is activated. All we're going to change, guys, this is back to the configurations. Everything's the same. We're doing apples to apples test, running the same data set. So what it's going to do is I stopped it. So once it starts again, it's going to restart from the same. So it's going to go in the same order, the same sequence. All we're changing is the corners just to see if they run better. So let's see if they run better. You can see everything else is going to be the same. The progression type, Padavon, everything else is the same. Okay. So let's go ahead and save the new parameters. Remember, we just changed that one thing. Now we're going to slide over here, and we're going to start. And this one, I'm just going to run through it with the frequency set to spit out results every second, just to go through this real quick, so we can wrap up the video. All right. Okay, so we're in print mode again. We are staying around those first 3 level bets. We're up to a new session high of 7. And let's see what happens with this one. So the same, if you're looking at the top, if you go back and watch, they're going to be exactly the same numbers, and they're going to be in the exact same order. Okay, and the same data set. These are the same numbers. The only difference we're doing is just to see what variation is going to work out better. Okay, so first variation was against the adding the double streets, and you can see we're pretty high in the progression right now, and it's dipping. So we're going to need to get on a long winning streak to get back, and it looks like it's coming back right now. And it did, just like that. We're in a new session high, and it reset. And we are at spin 33 at this point. Again, using $1,000 bankroll for both, $1 base unit for both. That profit loss on the first one, I'll slide over the information after this betting session. And if this is running too fast and you want me to slow it down, give me some feedback. Like I said, this is a new channel. I'm just excited to share what we've been working with, and you could see the potential power with this, right? I bring out that stress test. That stress test is really just to find that breaking point. You know, like maybe Padavon, like that's another thing. I could go and I could rake through so many of these videos. I could put a customized even super slow progression in there where it just goes up 1 unit on the highs at a time, or doing a DL invert like I said earlier in the video. There's so many ways to slice this pie. So okay, so now we're in another long losing streak, so we're gonna have to get a couple wins, and we did. Look at that. So I'm gonna pause it right there real quick. Bam, new session high. Can you see that here? $1,089, and we are at spin 66. So I'm gonna go, or 67. I'm gonna go ahead and unpause and finish out the test. And we are at spin number 72. Getting a little high in the progression again. So remember, so this is another thing too, like within 76, right? Our high was 79. If you set that like to reset within 20, knowing that you're going to make up that money early in the progression, and you want to play safer, I mean, that might survive even longer on a stress test, right? So just keep that in mind. But we do have it set up where it resets at session high. And a lot of times is if you do get it on a longer losing streak, that progression will the betting amount will get fairly high. All right, so we are in a new session profit of $95, actually 1,096. We are approaching the original survival test at spin 89, and this is spin 90. And let me know, because it's only going to take a few minutes. So if you like the idea, maybe stretching this out, instead of doing 100 spins, I could easily do 250, 500, 1,000. It's not going to take too long. Not when it's spitting out results every second. All right, we're at 99. We're at 100 right there. Stop right there. Okay, we're stopping right here because like if you see up here, it's just off by 1. It's no big deal. It's off by 1. Let's go ahead and see the win-loss ratio. So look at, it's the same exact as the last, right? So look down here. You see the wins? The wins were the same because it's the same data. The losses are the same, 56. The spins, the same, 100 spins. But what is different is we ran corners. So let's go ahead and let's stop this session. And let's see the stats. So ending balance is a little bit lower. We got an ending balance of 1,041. I'm gonna pull this other screen over so you guys can see. But our session high was better on this one, probably because of those overlap numbers. Okay, so our session high was positive 97, so that technically with $1,000 bankroll. Here's another one to point out. Right here, we did go down to 800. So we have $1,000 to work with. We went down, what is that? $180. So we used about $180. So that's something to keep in mind too. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in as well. Session and balance. I shouldn't add the low in here, but the low on this one, I should have added it. I'll do it in the next videos. Okay. So let's continue. Let me go ahead and slide this over so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so these are some, you can see the title, fully functioning strategies. We're still in the beta test, making sure we're working out all the bugs. Okay, so this one's running good. And so you see in the first version right here, this first line, look at this. Double streets, bankroll, base unit, the same. Profit high was 64 on that one, compared to profit high here was plus 97. And balance about the same. Again, nobody's going to stop at that exact spin count. That's just to give it a little longer test. You can see right here, this is proof that, and you could go back, look at the video, dude. Like, these are running the same data sets. That's why we're getting the same numbers right here. This is 44 wins against 56 losses, 44 wins against 56 losses. For you to get more losses than wins and still end in profit, that's got to be worth something, right? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, of course. Right here, data set, it was the same. Data set was 20 on both. But yeah, that's just a layout right there. And just before I end the video, I do want to show you something cool. So I could play different strategies together, right? So let me go ahead and stop this session. Let me just show you just real quick. I'm gonna go start another back test, and we are going to go 1,000 here. Submit. Keep that very basic. Skip, skip. So we're gonna play the high low. And what if we go and add, let's see, let's go Street Slayer. This is one I've ran on my previous channel as well. So I'm gonna keep it very simple. And then I'm gonna go ahead and activate that. So if you go see, we got that activated, and then we got, just make sure the hybrid, yeah, so both of those are activated. Right, now let's go ahead and start. All right, I'm gonna pause it real quick, okay? Pause it and look right here. We got two systems running. I can run more, but sometimes you get to the point of diminishing returns. So look right here. That's the high-low, the roulette jackpot that we've been running. And then I got Viper Street Slayer running right here. And look at the bets now, right? So this one's off one of the strategies. And then this one is off. You can see the bets on the six streets off another one. So let's just let it run for a little bit. Let's see if that's a nice combo. So we're up 109. We got a loss there. Now we're at 112. Let's just give it a few spins just to see if that's a nice stack. I've never tried it. I'm just being completely random right now. All right, up 100 or up 24 bucks. 20 up 27. We're on spin 14. And you can see the progressions. They're individual progressions, but why would you want to run two different strategies? Well, why not? Why not? They're creating potential overlaps. You know, it might, that this idea is to potentially find not only just a single good system, but systems that you could run together that will complement each other. And now we're on a super long losing streak. Oh, we got a huge hit of 204 bucks, but the progressions are staying high. That must have been one of those overlapping. Look at that. Let me pause that real quick. All right, look at where we're at. Plus $282. Now I didn't run any of these. I just picked random ones. You could all, and then you could also change this instead of starting at a dollar. If you're gonna run two systems at once, maybe that might be best to start at 10 cents if you're playing on stake. If you're playing on bet or anywhere that you could bet 50 cents, you could change it to a 50-cent base level denomination. But look at that, 290. Look up here, that was only 30 spins. You can see the power of this software and what it can do. I could stack three. I could stack some of those longer progressions that are single built, custom progressions with single streets, single splits, single numbers, single corners. But like, this video is getting a little long. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, but let me know what you guys think about this. I do want to read and see your feedback and see what your thoughts are on this, and see which way you guys want to go with this. I have some ideas, like I laid out early in the video, that I really think some great testing ideas. But let me know what some of your favorites are, and if you have any input, let me know. As always, if you have any great strategies that you think can pass the initial survival test to make it to Viper strategies, let me know. I have an email set up at roulette.strategy777@gmail.com, or you can simply put it in the comments. But if you want to stay private, you could just email me as well, whatever works for you. So with that being said, till next time, guys, be cool, stay cool, peace.